Welcome back to SL Chennai Speaks Out. Devendra Saharia, since you run a BPO here, a very successful one at that, various time zones, in fact, employees, living life out of a suitcase, taking a flight, having breakfast in one city, lunch in the other. A lot of employees once, in fact, one particular employee once told me, not in your company, of course, that he preferred to actually travel by train instead of flying, this initial thrill of being a frequent flyer. Because even when he's working, when he goes to the airport, the boss will ask him, okay, where's that presentation mail? But here at least, he can be without connectivity for a while and he can relax during the journey. So there is this element of pressure that is being put on employees.
Absolutely a valid point, Sanjay. I think there is a tremendous amount of, fatigue because of the travel, lifestyle, some of the, your routine is constantly being, disrupted. Also with the, laptop, Wi-Fi, Blackberries, all of these.
You become enslaved to technology. Is that how many of you feel enslaved to technology? How many of you cannot live without your Blackberries?
No, it's...
Many of you.
It's both an enabler as well as a...
Doc, enslaved to technology. Everywhere you go, forget mobile phones and SMSs, now Blackberries. Where's the time for them to stand and stare?
Where did they get the time?
You don't have an email ID, I know.
I don't have an email ID.
You don't have an email ID.
I save easy 2 hours. I save 2 hours at least a day. I surf the net, but I don't have an email ID. You're talking people working here in America. What I want to know from you is, say an American working in America, how long does he work? What are his timings every day? Work timings.
They have a 5-day week, 40 hours is the official time.
Okay.
And depending on the kinds of organizations, there are people who I know who work 50, 60, 70 hours also. There are people who work 40 hours.
But by and large 40 hours.
By and large?
That is the official work hours.
What about, how would you contrast that with, as doctor says, with an Indian here working?
With the guy
Apple to Apple.
Working here.
Same industry.
Same industry, same kind of job.
Is it a 5-day week to start with? No, 6.
In India? In India, I think there are a mix of companies, right? There are companies with 6-day weeks, there are companies with...
Majority companies 6 days?
Historically, I think in India it's been a 6-day week.
Because when I came back to India and started working, I work Monday to Friday. And I don't go into the hospital, see my outpatients on Saturday and Sunday. People kind of stared open mouth at me. 2 days. 2 days. Was a big thing for them.
I think it's a very valid point. This Saturday, Sunday gives you time to
get back, to
recharge.
I still have work on Saturday and Sunday. I have patients admitted, I have to go in and see. I have emergency calls and everything goes. A Saturday and Sunday is never fully off. But I get a big chunk of time to myself.
Okay, how many of you in the audience believe that you have time to spend with yourselves? Time with yourself, to give time a break, to spend time with your families. Do you believe you have time for yourself?
No.
No. You don't have time for yourself? Never? Then pass the mic to him, please.
Can we ask the bosses, do you have time for yourself?
Do you have time for yourself, Dev?
Absolutely. It's a question of time management. Absolutely. I think a person who says who doesn't have time, you're not managing your time well.
The golden days of Saturday, Sunday off in IT company is gone out.
Golden days? Why are you saying golden days?
Yeah, obviously. Now, none of the company have a complete Saturday and Sunday holiday. A Friday.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, sir?
Obviously, it's a bad thing. Okay, at least I have to spend 2 days
what are you doing
for
about
my family.
As a HR person, what are you doing to correct it?
See, we are at least saying that, okay, whatever you burn out a guy, do it by Monday to Friday. Finish off. At least 2 days. Don't ask him to support.
Squeeze him between Monday to Friday.
Something like
Yes.
In a project for 1.5 years from the noon 1 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock. Totally. Few days I used to inform my senior at the on-site that I am leaving to home. But once I reached the home, he used to call me and say, some other work is there, can you come to office?
That's cruel, isn't it?
And one more thing is, like one time I met with an accident and I got a fracture. I informed him that I can't come to office. Within 2 days, he called me and said, can you come to office, urgent work is there.
Yeah, I do agree with the gentleman, okay, because I have faced something. One of my met his immediate family member, his father passed away. I was conveying this message to my boss and I get it, who is a backup? He doesn't even want, what is his situation, what is his condition, is the financial help needed there? No, the immediate question was, who is a backup for him? So that is a business, I understand.
So are we being inhuman at one level? There's no, absolutely lack of consideration there. Yes, we'll come to you.
Well, if something like that has happened, it's completely inhuman. I would like to just say that what David said earlier, there are human beings and there are bosses. But let's go back a little. We'll blame it.
Distinguishing bosses from human beings.
No, there are bosses and there are bosses, and there could be bosses who are subhuman. There are some bosses who are, inhuman, and there are some who are really, truly good human beings. Yeah. Now, what I would like to say that, when I came to the south, that was the first time I saw that, officers and, parents, actually officers, IAS officers taking leave because their children are studying in class 10th and 12th. I mean, this is something that never happens in the north, at least. Now, what about that? I mean, aren't you guys burning out in class 10th, class 12th? What are you doing, yeah? You're getting out of your home, you're going and staying in a hostel in Kota, in Andhra Pradesh, locking yourself up for 16 hours in a day. Is that not burnout?
We are just doing this we have to get a good job.
What's your definition of a good job?
Good job is something like
IT?
we have to work for 10 hours.
What about Tendulkar?
Not
Is that a
9
good
to
job,
10
bad
hours.
job?
10 hours a day, I'm saying it.
No, I mean somebody who works for physically challenged people, or who works for challenged people who do social work, NGOs, people who are talking about climate change, is that a good job or a bad job?
Make a point here,
Is it a
like
good company or a bad company?
Exactly.
What's the kind of company you would like to run?
Yeah,
So I'm saying, I mean,
But
One
yeah,
second,
but
I'm
there's
just
no choice
saying
these
this.
days for the students because of the education
What is,
system.
okay, if I can ask one of you, what is, I'll ask the same gentleman, what is your idea of success? Success at the workplace, is it a thick wallet, 4-5
It's not
debit
like
credit
that.
cards?
We need a peaceful work, something like you're just traveling a day, 4 hours a day, and doing strictly mandatory to stay in office for 10 hours or 9.30 hours. And doing certification, coming home and doing certification, and there is no place for the work. I'm saying it's mandatory. It's mandatory.
It's monotony also. Doc, I
Yeah.
mean, Parkinson's
And
law, work tends to extend itself to fill the time available.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not necessary for an employee. Why can't companies actually set tasks for them, give them a particular task and tell them finish it, rather than necessarily stay in that office for 12 hours?
See,
Or
what you said, this travel time, people stay in point A and the job, the office
and just
in
because they
point B,
provide a
which
bus
is-
for pickup, it doesn't mean,
Absolutely. It's terrible. I mean, like you look at the colleges also. Most of the young kids have
Outskirts,
to travel at their
yes.
outskirts. I mean, it's really terrible. And these buses don't have anything which can facilitate some kind of entertainment or work during that period. 3 hours in the
At the
bus.
same time, to be fair to companies and to HR departments, I must ask some of you if we can have a random survey. How many of you during office hours play Farmville? Many of you, I know a lot of companies have, none of you do Farmville. Mafia Wars, Farmville, no. It's a very good set of employees then. Which is why many HR departments have had to ban Facebook in office because their employees are playing Farmville during office hours and wasting precious man hours. Do you play Farmville?
They don't give any work. Something like staying in bench for 6 to 7 months and mandatory to stay for 10 hours a day and traveling 4 hours. It's useless, I could say, and
So that's why you play Farmville.
it's banned in my company.
It's banned in your company. Okay. Why is it banned?
It's policy. Everything is policy.
Okay, everything is policy. Yeah, everything, as he says, everything is a policy. You go to them, there's a kind of an undemocratic veneer that you blame it on policy. It's a policy, no questions asked.
There are a very good firms say idea junction. They can come out with idea and say that, okay, we need this one. Okay, there are companies which is there to do what you want. See, we conduct employee engagement activities, we conduct games, but they say, oh, I have a deliverable, I cannot come and play today. So it is something where you have to come out, and I have got a simple joke which says, I have planned for a chess competition for an employee. He says, why can't we online? Hey, I want to break you out of that system and come out and you have to play. He says me, can I go do an online game? So people have to himself think that, okay, this is a game where I have to come out and play.
How many of you actually have gyms in your offices? Almost everybody. How many of you actually use the gyms in the offices? Only one person used the gym. Doc, this is, again, there are companies which go out of the way to provide these facilities.
Exactly. I think he started using it because he broke his leg or something, and I think he needed some exercise to get it back.
No, he didn't break his leg. No, but Doc, the point here is, companies sometimes provide those facilities, employees don't use them, but it's very easy to blame others in our society. It's easiest thing to do, blame game.
I very often, I tell people who come in with burnout, I tell them, carry a rucksack, carry trainers, change your clothes, go there, go ahead. Sir, but that is not done. If I do that, my manager will look at me with some, venom in his eyes.
Would you look at them with venom in the eyes?
I mean, this is what these kids say.
Not at all, not at all. I think
this is what the kids believe.
This is what they believe. This is what they tell counselors when they go for.
The point of providing these facilities is because they have to be used. Because there's a cost to it. There's a cost to the infrastructure that has been created, and it's obviously meant for
the fact. But they actually reach out. It's one thing to provide all the infrastructure, but you actually give them time to unwind. You actually reach out and tell them, well, this is the time you can spend there.
Well, I can talk about. I wouldn't like to single out my company or anyone like that, but I do know of several companies which have, in fact, clearly indicated that this is the time when you must switch off. I know of companies where we've worked, even in the private sector, very clearly, where in fact, as he said, you had to justify if you are keeping the lights on beyond a certain period of time. So the idea is to push them out. Now the other thing is that what do these guys do when they go out? I mean, how many of them actually go and do yoga? How many of actually do healthy eating? How many go to pubs? How many drink beer?
Doc, the concept of that's very important. Vivek Harinarain's point is very important. The concept of unwinding.
You
actually don't unwind.
You blame the office for everything. Yeah.
Your idea of unwinding.
They're blaming the office for everything. See, all of us have to work hard, and this is not about working easily, light and all that. You have to work hard, and there's no compromise.
Doc,
absolutely.
Since you're championing the cause of employees, many of your patients, in fact, their concept of unwinding is to go on a drinking binge, party through the night, have a hangover the next day, come late to office, then blame the boss if they pull you up. Many of them don't unwind. They actually wind up more, and then there's a short circuit.
That's because also I feel, Doc, at that age they don't realize it most of the time. So it's only the realization occurs after some time when it's a bit too late as such. So that is where I think
basically people don't build lots of activities into their own psyche from the beginning. Like you said, you have to SWAT for your 10th standard or your 12th standard. You don't learn to play football. You don't learn to play tennis. You don't even learn to appreciate a movie for movie's sake. It's just, the wham bam kind of movies you want to see just to, unwind. I mean, people haven't developed any other interest. Lots of them don't read books, don't play chess, don't do anything else with their lives, and they don't know how to relax. If they have time on their hands, yes, go. What does the herd do? Like you said, the herd goes to the pub. Okay.
Do you also spend time unwinding at the pubs?
No, not exactly. But I want to say one thing. We are just blaming the HR departments most of the times.
You're from the HR department?
No, I am not from the HR department. But I have seen that we always blame the HR departments. But in our organization itself, they are trying to arrange some events like for de-stretching the peoples. But we, the associates, whenever they will come to the module or something, we will just sneak out of the room so that we can just avoid all these things.
Okay.
So I think we also have the responsibility. We should also take the blame.
Share the blame.
Why do you sneak out of the room?
No, that is the trend going on because we don't want to.
Is it not exciting enough?
No, that is not the thing. But that is why we are saying that most of the associates, they don't want to take part in any events. Because if there is any cultural events, they are not taking part.
Yeah.
I lead events management committee for my company. Okay, I put my stress over the work, and at the same time I put my stress over this events committee. Okay, what happens is like, how much do I get recognized by this thing? Nothing. When the one who is owning this committee is not getting recognized for this, why would employees go into that?
Okay, pass the mic to Siddharth Ganeriwala. Siddharth, in fact, runs also into event management. Siddharth, activities by these companies, I mean, he says that nobody turns up. Is it because they're boring, downright boring?
I don't think so, Sanjay. Over the last 3 years, what we've seen is a spurt of IT events. I think most event management companies, especially in Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, or where the IT is based out of, are surviving or thriving on the IT business, which ranges from multiple activities. They can be activities happening in cafeterias, happening, TGIFs happening. They have their annual days happening, founder days happening, quarterly activities happening, Sudoku online happening. We get a lot of requests from various IT companies, to come.
But again,
back.
It's all online. I mean, what doctor says.
No, it's not online alone, Sanjay. We've done events for 8,000, 10,000 employees with, a Shankar Mahadevan performing live for them, or depending on what the audience wants or what they see it on TV, we take it out on the ground to them. We do sports events for IT companies. But yes, we do see that, the employee looks at that time. There is that percentage of crowd which gets involved in the event, and there is a certain percentage of crowd which just disassociates or actually
what is the percentage that gets involved?
I would say 70% of people are present.
Largely, okay, get involved. Yeah. Doc, I want to ask, since
present is not involved.
Yes, present is not necessarily involved. Doc, since we don't know how to, in fact, spend leisure time, also I want to bring in an important aspect, sensitive but important. Laptops creeping into bedrooms. There are sexual problems which, in fact, couples don't spend quality time together because of work pressure. Do you get a lot of these patients?
In fact, recently I had one case where, newly married, this guy actually switched his laptop on and said, "Look at that! That's what I usually see. It's a porn show going on." He wants his wife to have a look at it along with him, so that she gets turned on. I mean, this is not on. I mean, he does not even know foreplay. He does not know lovemaking. I mean, this is beyond him.
In the West, I'm told that...
You're not blaming the bosses.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Because of, burnout, a lot of people land up to, in fact, mental health care professionals for counseling. 30% approximately are burnout related. Is it the same in India as well?
Yeah, very, very similar numbers. See, again, what I was telling you earlier, Sit, work with them. I, as a psychiatrist, I look for signs of mental illness, major depressions, panic disorders, anxiety disorders, which need treatment from a medical as well as a non-medical sense. Okay. Now, you don't get these disorders, but you get symptoms of these disorders, but the root cause is something else. Guy can be depressed. A guy can be depressed because he failed his exam. So if he's depressed because he's depressed, I treat him. Depressed because he failed his exam, I've got to kind of work on this guy, send him to the right kind of people, work on this exam skills, whatever. Here, I don't know where to send these guys, because these guys' bosses also are being in the same state.
The bosses also. You said, bring your boss also to me.
I'm seeing equal number of HR personnel as well, and company bosses too with burnout.
All right.
Okay.
It's
I'm
very
not talking about only employees.
We'll come back. In fact, this topic itself is about burnout, so we will also take a short break now. It's very important to take breaks. When we return, we'll talk about this fancy term called delegate. Delegate work. Are we, in fact, is work being delegated by generals who've never fought a war?